Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I'm very glad to see that there are so many people joining already for what I believe will be a very exciting and a first for us to actually have this real interaction with the Western Cape and Finland. We're looking forward to especially the breakaway sessions, which I think will be very informative. And it's my task. I'm Paul Hoffman from the Western Cape Economic Development Partnership. And I'm co-emceeing with Anna Hattenpää from the Finland Chamber. She'll introduce herself a little bit later. Just very briefly from my side, we are looking forward to obviously you also being part of the process, although you in this virtual world, we can't sit and look each other's in eyes. But the couple of house rules is that please introduce yourself if you want in the chat room. You can do a very short introduction, especially from the attendee side. But all the questions and all the comments that you want our panelists later on to answer, please put that into the Q&A box. Otherwise, we might miss it in the chat room. So please put that in the Q&A box. But you're quite welcome to, just bring some additional information to our attention in the chat room. Then also, please, I know your screens are all switched off and you are muted, but we can't, unfortunately, especially during the greater plenary session, allow specific questions there, but I'm sure depending on the number of people in the various breakaways, there might be an opportunity for a bit of a more interactive process, but we'll see when we get to that point. And then also, we are going to go in a breakaway room, so there will be a separate link which we will share as we go along up until about 9:30 when we go into that breakaways. You'll see it on your chat screen. You'll see it on a holding screen a little bit later on. It will mean that you have to log into that specific one. Just follow the instructions. It will take you to your room of choice there, so you'll get an opportunity to to decide which one you want to go to, and you can actually also switch around inside if you feel like it to go to another part of the conversations there. So you're quite welcome to decide as you go along. And then please, afterwards, please come back. I know sometimes what happens once the breakaway rooms and the breakaway sessions have been completed, people want to disappear. The link is now on there, as you can see it. So make sure that you refer back to that. We'll explain it again a little bit later, so don't fret if you miss it now. And then the second part is that when we finish off with the breakaways, we want to come back and just also introduce you to a couple of nice opportunities and options with Finnpartnership and some other processes that we want to share there with you. So please come back afterwards. Then you'll just link back on this specific link that you had today. So that will be quite nice if we can all be here. We'll definitely try our utmost best to finish at 11:35. So there will be no issues around that. So enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Anna Hattenpää just to also do a quick introduction, and then we'll continue with the program as indicated. So Anna, over to you.
So hello, good morning everyone. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear participants of the webinar. Good morning and warmly welcome to our webinar. I am Anne Hattenpää, the liaison manager of the Finland Chamber of Commerce. Today we can listen to representatives of different organizations and businesses at our webinar. We concentrate on circular economy, agribusiness and fintech. Although there are many other sectors where Finnish and South African businesses can cooperate. Finland, one of the Nordic countries, offers a stable and predictable business environment, a peaceful and well-functioning society with transparent government and effective state institutions. You may already know that Finland has been at the forefront of circular economy initiatives for many years. Finnish agricultural technology is adaptable at different farming conditions in any part of the globe. Finland offers ICT solutions for companies and individuals in different sectors worldwide. Finns are fascinated by novelties and technologies, and they are an excellent public to test new devices. With these words, I wish you a great day and excellent discussions. Thank you and see you later after the breakaways. Now I have the honor to introduce Her Excellence Ms. Anne Lammila, the Ambassador of Finland to the Republic of South Africa. The floor is yours, Ms. Ambassador, please.
It does look like she's not online yet. Maybe what we can do is to just switch over and the introductions from our Premier and the MEC, and then when she joins, we can obviously give her an opportunity to have a few words. So is that okay if we do that?
Yes, thank you. It's a good idea. I hope all agree with us.
I'm sure they will. So without further ado, then I think unfortunately, both our Premier and MEC couldn't make it in person, but they did pre-recordings for us. So we will look forward to listening to them and hearing what they've got to say to us. So over to the Premier, over to the MEC. Thank you so much.
The Premier of the Western Cape, and specifically like to welcome every single one of you to this workshop, this partnership of how Finland and the Western Cape are going to work together in a better and better way, how we specifically, I want to say, coming out of COVID-19, how we look at our own recovery plan, but at the same time, how we carry on building this great relationship that we already have and take those building blocks and actually just build onto them. So I wish you well in the deliberations of this workshop. And also specifically, maybe just to start off by saying, I'm immensely proud of how the Western Cape has managed COVID-19. What really has stood out for me is the innovation that's come out during this period in our own systems, our health system, but of course the whole ecosystem as well, how citizens, businesses, government, the health system, and we've all worked together to make sure that we've never run out of beds, we've never run out of oxygen. We're always finding innovative ways of making sure that we get through now the third wave. And I think these also exercise our minds in understanding that when we have so much loss, when we have loss of life and when we have loss of economic opportunities and jobs, then of course we also need to zone in, we need to focus, and we do have discussions like this where we talk about what are the opportunities on how the North and the South work together. Where are those opportunities when regions and countries work together? And specifically for us, so that we're busy with what we call the recovery plan. We've said let's bring it right down to 3 focus areas. Safety, which has always been sort of my election promise. I need to make it safer in our region. So safety has always got to be a bottom line, and we're doing a lot of work with safety. On the one side, it's about boots and policing, but of course, it's also even more so about violence prevention. How do we get to those young boys before they get drawn towards perhaps gangs or crime or drugs? How do we get to that prevention in the first 1,000 days of a child's life? What is it that we need to be doing different in our education system to keep kids into the system instead of them dropping out and ending up being enticed by negativity in society? And so perhaps there's also areas that we can work together there, but the safety is a key area for me. Then of course, I think everything is about jobs, the economy. That's where I've been and my passion from being an entrepreneur before I became the Premier, and looking at the way that our department can make it easier to do business, how we can really work on trade and investment and really look at what are those opportunities. Our own products, how do we get them out into more of the markets out there? And then of course we have to underpin it with what we call wellness and well-being. I think society in general is facing a fatigue of mental fatigue, and mental wellness is a big issue for us, and as I see across the world. So it's tackling those kind of issues, but it's also about well-being. People who've lost their jobs, who need that safety net, people who really have fallen out of the jobs market and are really battling to get back in. What are we doing about that in safety net and well-being? So it's exercising around there, right down to the education system, early childhood development, really creating an environment that understands the well-being and future of our citizens. Those are 3 focus areas. Then of course I also want to say that I think I welcome business to business between between Finland and South Africa, Finland and the Western Cape. I think specifically for us, it would be a focus, or continue to focus, on the areas of agriculture, for us about innovation in agriculture, but also about agricultural markets. Europe is a key agricultural market for us, and what are the other products we can look at? The circular economy, I think, and the green economy. I mean, that's something that I have been passionate about for many, many years, and I'm pretty certain there are lots of areas of we can find of synergy, but also areas of opportunity. How do we create an environment that actually has businesses, Finnish businesses, seeing opportunity for investment here and opportunity for growth here in the southern tip of Africa, but not only for the southern tip of Africa, for the African continent, using it as a launch pad for other business opportunities. Tech. I think there's huge opportunities for tech. We call ourselves the Silicon Cape, the Silicon Valley of Africa. We really position ourselves, and I think there's huge opportunities for tech, specifically tech, Finnish tech companies looking at partnering and working with our South African tech companies. We've done incredibly well on fintech, but of course there's all the other opportunities that come with it, health tech and agri-tech. There's many, many opportunities there. And of course, how do we get our business chambers to work together? So this is the kind of workshop that gets, I want to call the recovery going. And that's where we all need to be putting our mind into recovery. As we're coming out of our third wave in COVID-19, our vaccinations are running nicely. And of course, so what is the future going to look like? And let's do this together. I think if one thing we've learned from COVID-19 is that shutting our borders and locking our economies down is being done for a purpose of trying to manage this virus. But now what we've got to do is we've got to flip that around, and we've got to actually say, how do we open this up again? Vaccines are playing their part, and so now it's about opening it up. It's about partnerships. It's about tech and innovation and the new way of work. And I want to say to all of you, I look forward to seeing the outcome of these conversations, of what these kind of workshops can do around opening up and partnerships and growing forward. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is David Mania, and I'm the Minister of Finance and Economic Opportunities in the Western Cape. I'm sorry that I'm not able to join you in person today for the Finnish Business Chamber workshop. We, of course, look forward to strengthening our relationship with Finland, working closely together to make the most of the great opportunities in trade, in investment and tourism in the Western Cape. The Western Cape, of course, is open for business, with many opportunities to offer in a variety of growing sectors, including agriculture, ICT, digital, and of course the green economy. We are also excited about the opportunity to exchange knowledge and expertise with Finland and the Finnish Business Chamber on the development of a market platform. And so I wish you all many fruitful discussions during this business workshop, and I look forward to engaging with you all more closely and in person in the future. I thank you.
So thank you very much for the nice videos that was made by Mr. White and Mr. Menier. I think that we had a good glimpse what is happening in the South Africa. Now I'm aware that our ambassador, Ms. Anne Lammila, has arrived, and I have the honor to introduce her. So, Ms. Your Excellence, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you, Program Director, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this webinar, and thank you for taking the time to be with us this morning. I would like to express my appreciation to the Western Cape Department of Economic Development and Tourism, to Wesgro, to the Africa Business Network of the Finland Chamber of Commerce, and to Finnpartnership for having the initiative of organizing this business webinar between Finland and the Western Cape province. We have several Finnish companies based in the Western Cape, and you will hear from them later. The Finnish government has approved its Africa strategy earlier this year, which aims to diversify and deepen Finland's relations with African countries, the African Union and regional organizations in general. It also has the goal to double trade between 2020 and 2030. That is in Africa, but of course we are aiming to double our trade between Finland and South Africa. Finland's largest trading partner on the continent, South Africa, in any ways plays a big role in our aims, as well as the Western Cape. We do appreciate the wine you produce here and the fruits and many more. Finland has been spearheading the concept of circular economy, and the country has adopted its circular economy roadmap in 2016. It aims to transform the economy into one that is based on the principles of circular economy, which is also a step towards achieving the government's carbon neutrality target by 2035. So you see that Finland is even more ambitious than the European Union in its totality. The Finnish Innovation Fund Sitra organized the first World Circular Economic Forum in Helsinki in 2017. And this year's forum was just co-organized virtually by Canada and Sitra 2 weeks ago. A Sitra study shows that circular economy could increase the value of the Finnish economy by at least 3 billion euros by 2030. In Finland, carbon neutral circular economy is seen as the basis of international competitiveness, besides being crucial to our commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement. We know of the Western Cape's goal of becoming the first green province in Africa, and we would like to share our experiences with you in this regard. Finland's success story as an innovation and technology country is based on good foundation skills, strong public-private partnerships, and world-class technical expertise. Our innovation system relies on 3 fundamental pillars: a highly skilled workforce, a high research and development investment, although it could be even higher, and a deeply rooted collaboration between Finnish industries, research institutions, and universities. Finnish universities have some sort of ongoing collaboration with all of the universities in the Western Cape. We also fund the Southern Africa Innovation Support Program, SAIS for short, in partnership with the ministries responsible for science, technology, and innovation in Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Tanzania, and Zambia, as well as the SADC Secretariat. Just last week, I was in Cape Town for the launch of the Southern Africa Innovation Collective as part of the South Africa Innovation Summit. Cape Town-based MLab is one of the SAIS Connected Hubs members, and SAIS has funded 2 projects where the Cape Innovation and Technology Initiative has been involved. Finnish companies have traditionally upheld high values of corporate social responsibility, good corporate management, and corruption-free practices. Finland is the 3rd least corrupt country in the world, according to the Corruption Perceptions Index 2020. And we are very proud of that achievement. We are also the happiest countries in the world for 4 consecutive years. And the country ranked with the highest quality of life. And as you know, our weather can be horrible. So certainly it's not because of the weather. So we must be doing something right. I truly believe that the more Finnish companies find partnerships in South Africa, the better. Not just for the increase of business and trade between both countries and for job creation, but because I believe their good management practices and their sense of corporate social responsibility can in the long run have a positive influence in the way of doing business in South Africa. I hope that some partnerships may develop from this webinar this morning. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Premier Alan Winde, whom I had the honor to meet in June, sorry. And Minister David Menier for taking the time to send us their messages to this webinar. Thank you all again for taking the time to be with us this morning. I hope you will find the exchanges useful and that they may result in fruitful engagements. So good morning and good meeting for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Lamila. We really appreciate you taking the time as well to be part of this webinar. And if I could ask for a round of applause, I would have done so. So maybe we can get people to record and show the applause and everything else like we normally do. But thank you so much for being there. We go. There's some people already responding in that regard. So we appreciate that. And interesting, Ambassador, I think, you know, from what you're saying, and I'm happy to hear you're one of the happiest countries in the world. That's hopefully that happiness can be also transferred to us here. I think in the Western Cape, we are also happy people. So I think we already have that in common. And from what I'm hearing from you and the Premier, I think there's a lot of things in common there in terms of quality, in terms of innovation, in terms of the approach towards business and also the people, you know, which is great. So that combination does make for a good match and a good partnership. So thank you very much for those encouraging words. And also for you and the team to be part of this process and actually implementing what we're doing today. So it's a great opportunity for all of us. Thank you so much. Right.
Yeah.
Guys, yeah, thank you. So I think it's, as I've said earlier, I think there's so many opportunities, and I've just quickly had a look at the attendees as well. And there's a good match in the mix between Finnish companies and Finnish and South African or Western Cape companies. So hopefully in the breakaway rooms, which we are going to now, there will be a great opportunity for you to interact a lot more with each other in this regard. So at least hearing some of the success stories that we're going to show you, and from what will be happening from our moderators there's some good presentations. And there's going to be a lot of time for Q&A afterwards. So the presentations will be very quick. It's just setting the scene and ensuring that when we get to the point where the interaction can take place. But please, again, I'm reiterating, if you want to put your names in the chat room and introduce yourself there, it's already a great thing to do. But you will have that same opportunity, obviously, in the breakaway rooms as well. So how this works, and I hope I'm getting it right, there is a sector breakaway link that you will see on the screen as it sits currently, that you need to go into that link and out of this current link that you are in now, so that and that will give you the choice between your 3 breakaways that you can say, listen, I want to go to circular or agri or tech. So it's up to you to decide, obviously, which one you want to join. And as we said earlier, you can change in the middle if you feel you need to be in other places. I spoke to 1 or 2 people before the time as well, and they said, yeah, I wish I could split myself in 2 or 3 that I can be at all of them. We are recording all of this, and there will be obviously all the presentations and the recordings will be made available afterwards. So please don't fret if you're not able to get to another session. It's not a problem. You'll be able to listen in later on. So join, I think, where you feel safest and where you feel it's relevant to your business. And yeah, so and again, please, the moderators will give you the links back to this session, to the specific plenary, that you can also just join us again after the breakaways, which will be around about 10:50. So in between, do your breaks, coffee breaks, and whatever the case may be. And then once we are obviously in the breakaway rooms, you know, depending on the number of people there might be slightly different approach from the moderators in terms of how you can access or not access, but we'll leave it to the moderators as we speak. So very quickly, just again, it's agricultural, breakaway 1 will be circular economy. Yassine and Maria will be your moderators there. So if you're in that room and you don't see those people, if you're in a room, you don't see the two of them, then you know you're not in the right room. Agricultural technologies, Tawfiq and Kaiser will be managing that for us. And then in the tech disruptors, Rui and Sebekeri will be the 2 moderators there. And as you can see from the program, and you're definitely here today to come and listen to that, otherwise you wouldn't be here. It's going to be very good presentations and we're looking forward. So it also up front, I want to thank all the speakers, by the way, that's taken the time. And I know some of them are sitting in strange places in Africa and obviously across the world here to actually come and talk to us. So thank you very much upfront, speakers and presenters for your time as well. I think it's very great that you're all here. So Rihanna, do I have it right? So they can now click on that link. Do they need to actually click or you know, click on that link and this will automatically take them there, or do they need to get out here first before they can do that? Because we are about 3 minutes away from that transition. So just maybe from your side, if we have it right.
Okay, so they can log in, they can leave the session will remain open, and they can obviously just log on and choose which.
Okay, so all I need to do is press that link and then it will take them automatically there.
Correct, Paul.
Okay, guys, I hope you all get into the rooms. If you get stuck in this room, you'll quickly see. And then you can just, see the guys already, some of the panelists are already moving across, and so are the attendees. So that's just great. So people are following that process. It is open, the link is open, Rihanna, so everything is good. Right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the sessions on the other side, and we'll see you back here afterwards. And hopefully we can get some good information both there and otherwise when we're done. Enjoy. I see people are rejoining us, so all the moderators and the presenters are back, and I'm seeing that these are slowly but surely rejoining us. So welcome back, everyone. I'm very happy that you have made it back. We were just saying up front, and I'll probably repeat it a little bit later again, but it feels like any normal conference and any normal workshop that people walk from room to room to find their rooms. This has probably happened very similarly, yeah. So which is actually fine, you know. So I think at least most of you did get to the rooms you wanted to get without a big fuss, and hopefully you enjoyed it in that session, and that you did pick up some good information first of all, and secondly made the odd connection, which I think is the important part as well. And the session for the rest of the day will be actually to build on those relationships with the Wesgro and Finnpartnership, and also Business Finland's inputs. It's important that we link it through those processes as well as far as we can. So, but we'll start just now. I know we're a couple of minutes late, but so far we've been very good on timing. So well done to everybody, to all the moderators and everybody else being in that process. We'll just wait for, I see the people are still joining, so I don't want to start too quickly, Salman, but just be ready on a minute's notice that we'll be back. So I think when we round about, I'll give it another minute or so, and then we can take it from there. So just for everybody rejoining, thank you so much for doing that. First of all, it's always the fear that we will lose a lot of people along the line, but I'm glad that you're back. And I think you do understand the importance of the next session, where we actually want to try and link all the development agencies and the partners together. And then we'll have some summaries from the moderators afterwards. So, you know, just in terms of quickly telling us what's happened in their sessions, and then we'll finish off. As indicated and as promised, we will share the presentations that's been made and done, and hopefully all the recordings as well, to you guys that's been part of this process, that you can starting linking back, and we'll share all the information. I think Anna and Salman, between Wesgro, Finnpartnership, and Business Finland, and obviously the chamber, to ensure that people can connect through those avenues as well, getting back to where we are. So Salman, I think if you are ready, maybe you should start. I think people will continuously be joining. So it is our pleasure to welcome Salman back, Kaye from the Wesgro, as one of the co-organizers of this event as well, talking to us a little bit and telling actually our Finnish friends about what Western Cape can be as the next business partner for ourselves. So Salman, I think over to you, my friend.
Thanks, Paul. Firstly, thank you very much to the audience for allowing me the opportunity of presenting today, and of course to the partners that have played a role in organizing this. We greatly appreciate the collaboration and hope that this is the first step in building a mature relationship between us. I also hope that the panel discussions were fruitful for all of the our delegates today. So I just want to quickly share my presentation, and I will start with a quick video. I only have 10 minutes, so I will be as succinct as possible, and of course, thank you. So I'm sure you will agree with me that those are 10 very compelling reasons to invest in the Western Cape and do business here for that matter. It is also the reason that Cape Town has become a global hub for multinationals seeking to invest in the Western Cape. So without further ado, I'd like to just start with a quick overview of Wesgro. We are the official tourism, trade, film and investment promotion agency for the Western Cape province. Our mandate comes from the city of Cape Town and the provincial government of the Western Cape. And just looking at the last 5-year strategic cycle, our performance has been quite prolific and quite successful. So just very briefly, you'll see that we were successful in attracting 11.6 billion rand worth of foreign and domestic direct investment into the region. We assisted with almost 3,000 export transactions out of the Western Cape, helped attract 7 million visitors to the region, and all of that culminating in the facilitation of just over 10,000 direct employment opportunities for the Western Cape. That obviously being a key indicator for us, given the unemployment situation in the Western Cape and South Africa. So one of the successful reasons, or one of our reasons for success, and certainly one of our critical success factors, is the fact that we have got mature relationships all over the world. So a good indicator of that is just before the COVID-19 pandemic hit us, or the lockdown hit us, Wesgro did about 40 international travel missions in order to position the brand in new and emerging markets of interest to us from a trade, tourism, and investment perspective. I think the important message that I want to leave you here with is that we are a global hub wherein we are trying, or we certainly try to defend our traditional source markets for trade and investment, and also are in a process of wanting to grow into our emerging high growth target audience. Just looking at the Western Cape's GDP relative to South Africa and its provincial competitors, you'll see that yes, growth has been slow over the last 5-year strategic cycle. However, we do feel that we are turning the corner from an investor confidence perspective and also from a political perspective, given the new administration under Cyril Ramaphosa. However, I think the slide is important for 2 reasons. One is to show that the Western Cape outperforms the national average year on year, and also that we are second to Gauteng from an economic growth perspective. We are often seen as a destination for leisure and tourism, but I'm here today to say that we also have an industrial and a services base, which is certainly of interest to multinationals, and we'd love to see how we can open those opportunities up to Finnish companies looking at the continent at this point in time. So just again, some of the unique selling points for the destination. You'll see on the one hand, we have got sophisticated infrastructure connecting us not only to the rest of the continent, but also globally. 3 export-orientated ports at that. And I think the most significant indicator from an infrastructure perspective is the fact that we have the best airport on the African continent, and that we've been rated by Skytrax out of the UK for a number of years in a row. From a skills perspective, knowing that we're going into kind of a new way of work and defining the skills of the future, the Western Cape has got 3 world-class tertiary institutions. The University of Cape Town probably standing out the most as a top 100 university. So certainly a skills base to feed into industrial activities as well as service or tertiary based activities in the economy. So just looking at some of the companies that have answered the call to those unique selling propositions, and I think it's important for me to say from an infrastructure perspective that the Western Cape has first world infrastructure synonymous to global markets, but our business opportunities have high growth rates associated to them like emerging markets do. So I think that's really one of the value propositions I leave you with today. But again, just looking at the companies that have answered the call and have set up shop in the Western Cape, you'll see the top, the top tier of traditional sectors is dominated by South African multinational corporations. A good example there is Shoprite, based in the Western Cape and expanded quite aggressively onto the rest of the continent, which means that local companies can piggyback off of their supply chain and capitalize via exports off of the robust growth on the rest of the continent. So traditional sectors highly dominated by South African multinational corporations. But if you look at the novel sectors, and certainly those that have high growths associated to them, you'll see that that multinational corporations like Amazon, like Jinko Solar, and like Acciona, all listed entities on global stock exchanges, have chosen the Western Cape as their headquarter base for the African continent, have saturated the market in the Western Cape, South Africa, and will certainly start exporting product and services to the rest of the continent. So again, to Finnish companies on the call with us today, that opportunity exists for yourselves, and we'd like to play a role in exposing you to those opportunities in the sectors which you represent. Just turning our attention then to the Western Cape's GDP by sector, you'll see that South Africa, or rather the Western Cape in this instance, has got a very sophisticated economy, as a lot of its activities lean towards the services base or the tertiary base of the economy. Paul has got his hand up. Paul, my apologies. 3 minutes. So just on this side is just to say that a lot of our activities from an economic perspective is in the service base, but also we've got a growing manufacturing base, and on that point are attracting a lot of multinational corporations from an investment perspective into the manufacturing base. Very quickly, this is just a synopsis of our top 10 export markets from the Western Cape. Traditionally speaking, the Netherlands, the UK, and the US has always been our top markets. However, what I want to draw your attention to is the growth in exports into the African continent. So again, just reinforcing the point of regional integration from the Western Cape as a hub. Between Finland and the Western Cape, this is what the trade scenario looks like since 2011. You can see here, I'm not going to go into the details just out of respect for time, but the Western Cape certainly running a trade deficit with Finland. So Finland exporting more product into the Western Cape than the Western Cape exporting product into Finland. So there is an opportunity for Finnish companies to look at import substitution into the region. Just looking at foreign direct investment, you'll see that by a country perspective, the United States, the UK, and Germany are our most aggressive investors into the region. And then from a sector perspective, again, services coming out trumps from a number of projects, and renewable energy and communications from a capital expenditure perspective. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. All I'm going to say is that from Finland to the Western Cape, the uptake of foreign direct investment both ways has been slightly underperforming. So the challenge that I set to South African and Finnish companies today is what are the areas of opportunity that we can start exploring to expand that picture and really offer our companies growth in the respective regions. These are the 6 sectors we see as opportune. Again, I won't go through all of these sectors, but a good mix of traditional and high growth. And we have a team dedicated to speaking you through the opportunities in these areas. We also understand that from a regulatory perspective, there have been, we have become more bureaucratic as a destination. So we have a regulatory one-stop shop where 14 national, provincial, and local regulatory authorities are there to assist you with expediting the commercialization of your business opportunities in the Western Cape. This is the final slide. I just want to leave you with a quick message. That is that over the last 10 years, transnational corporations like the World Economic Forum and the IMF have all said that the 7 of the fastest growing economies in the world are based on the African continent. We believe that as the Western Cape, we are certainly a global hub and well positioned for you to capitalize off of those opportunities. And on that note, a call to action is contact us. We are free of service investment facilitation agency. So we are happy to support you with transitioning your businesses into the Western Cape, into South Africa, and onto the continent. On that note, I thank you and hand the mic back to Paul.
So thank you, Mr. Kai. It's my turn to be the moderator at the moment. And thank you very much for your information And it's good to have you on now. We have a person in South Africa to whom to call if we have questions. And of course, funding is very important for us. And that's why we have funding for co-creation by Mr. Christopher Palmgren, who comes from Business Finland. So Christopher, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. I hope you can hear me. I'm sharing
Yes, we hear you.
slides. Okay, and hopefully you can see my slides as well. Can you?
Yes, we can. Please have them in presentation from. Now they are very well. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. I have two screens here, so okay, that's good. Yes, so my name is Christopher Palmberg, coming from Business Finland. You see our headquarters in the background there. So just a few words on Business Finland. But thanks to Salman also for a really good, interesting presentation. I think the role we play is also a facilitator on the Finnish side. And you also saw, I think, a nice picture in the end there about opportunities in Africa. So we are really also on the Finnish side here to facilitate collaboration and co-creation. A few words on Business Finland. So we are the main public agency in Finland supporting innovation, promoting exports, as well as invest into Finland. So rather similar roles, partly to what we heard just earlier on the South African side. Our services are groupable into four, let's say, broad categories. We have a lot of different activities, but the four main ones relate to supporting companies' international growth efforts. We can do that through funding here in Finland, but mainly through our networks in different target countries, including tight collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the embassies. And we also do a lot of delegations, etc. And here, of course, in South Africa, we have some colleagues even in this virtual room. Camilla Ramada, for example, is working out of Johannesburg. And then we have some other colleagues throughout the continent there. Funding is a big part of our activities. I'll say something more about that. We also run thematic programs in areas of strategic importance to the Finnish economy and also based on our governmental programs. Currently, I think we are around 15 to 16 programs in various areas. One is on biocircular economy. We have quite a few ones touching upon digitality in various verticals. Energy is a big issue, health, also consumer business solutions, and also the agri-food sector is one area we are running programs. So those are good, let's say, spearheads and platforms for collaboration as well. And then specifically, we talk a lot about ecosystems. So we see as an important mission to link different actors, research companies, various other stakeholders, also in the public sector, together to form business-driven, larger coherent entities. And of course, it's also good if we can do this across national borders with our partners globally. But that's a very brief overview what we do basically, and then the customers we have. So we mainly work with Finnish companies in Finland, especially in the funding space, because we can only fund Finnish companies there. But research organizations play an important role in these ecosystems I mentioned, as well as public sector actors. We also attract talent to Finland. We have a dedicated activity to get talent from abroad working in Finland. We also do work on tourism, so we try to attract visitors to Finland and also have discussions and dialogue with tour operators, etc. And then also, not to forget, we also have international companies and investors as our customers globally. And here we work a lot on attracting investments to Finland, and in a way that, in that sense, pitching Finland as a good location for R&D or other business activities. But actually, my main topic today was more on what I myself work on. So my role is to head a joint platform with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs called the Developing Markets Platform. And here we focus on developing markets in certain areas of the world where we can pool especially what is being done on the development policy side and on our side in terms of innovation policy. Out of those regions, we we focus on countries where we have an office and an embassy. By looking at Africa there, South Africa, that area of the African continent is really interesting to us. We also work out of Kenya and Nigeria and Morocco in Africa. And our mission is to help Finnish companies and their partners develop sustainable business and access global funding in these markets. So that's our mission. A few words, we have 3 areas of activity. They all aim to, in a way, help Finnish companies utilize those opportunities that we see as growing and partly underutilized in these emerging markets. So that is the kind of backbone and philosophy. So we try to engage, concretize, and also facilitate entry of Finnish companies into these new emerging markets and in establishing partnerships there and co-creative ventures across borders. And we do this in 3 areas. So we have a funding path, and we work towards these international funders. That is perhaps a bit more for the bigger companies in Finland. And we also work for advancing Finnish sales to the UN system, more, let's say, in areas of conflict and crisis, but that is also a 3rd leg of our work here. I'll concentrate on the funding side because that is of concrete relevance, hopefully, to some of you. So in that area, what we have done essentially is we have pooled the funding of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Business Finland. This slide is a bit technical, sorry for that, but essentially the point is that we can provide smaller grants for companies who are entering the market and need to understand the basics of the market, maybe get some connections, do some market analysis, and those are the green areas in the figure. But our core mandate is to fund research, development, innovation activities, whether it's a new product, new service, new business model, etc. And this is also where we are distinct from Finnpartnership, which you'll hear more about soon. So in that area, really the funding is for creating new solutions, products, business models for new markets globally. And those are grants or loans to Finnish companies. And the novelty that we can now do through this platform of mine, which I'm heading with colleagues, is that we can then, on top of that regular funding that we provide to Finnish companies, add a component that is earmarked for local co-creation and the costs of local partners in target countries so that they can join the Finnish projects. And that grant is paid out to the Finnish entities, but it's earmarked for this local collaboration. So that is a rather unique, I would say, blending of actually development aid funding, but still for the benefit both of business and development impacts in the target country. So in that case,
you have 2 minutes.
Okay, that's good. And this is just a slide to explain this mechanism a bit more. So if there is a market opportunity, you have local partners, and your development project is in line with sustainable development goals, then you can apply for this additional funding that then is in a way channeled to your local partners, for example, in this case in South Africa. And then we have another funding window as well with Finnpartnership, and that is more related to NGOs or research organizations or other similar types of entities joining these consortia or projects, providing supportive inputs to the actual core project there. So the main point is we have new funding avenues for you to engage your partners, either, for example, in South Africa and the Western Cape area, as well as through other agencies and NGOs back here in Finland. These are the kind of activities you can include in that part of the top-up funding. So it gives a bit more leeway compared to the R&D funding, which is a bit strict and focuses on R&D and innovation activities. So here you can actually utilize funding to develop your networks locally, do feasibility work, demonstrations, testing, and piloting. If you are interested, then just send me an email and you'll get further guidance. And this is more or less how the process then goes. My colleague Anna Rahikainen is also involved in this activity, and we are going to focus this winter and next year increasingly also in South Africa. We are developing now some basic capabilities to have a more active role in facilitation and matchmaking between Finnish and South African partners. I'll stop here. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Christopher. It was very informative presentation, and I think that companies can take it back home and study a little bit more. Now we go to the Finnpartnership services for Finnish and South African companies, and we have Kaisa Arkkila here at our platform. So Kaisa, please, the floor is yours. Would you join us? We leave Christopher. Goodbye for you.
Thank you, Anne. Just a minute and I'll share my presentation.
Thank you.
And you should be able to see it now.
Yes, we see.
Great. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Kaisa Arkkila. I'm the collaboration coordinator for Finnpartnership, and I will be telling you today about our services for connecting Finnish and South African companies. So first, briefly about Finnpartnership. So we are funded by the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Finland and managed by Finnfund. We are a business partnership program, and our services are free of charge. Our mission is to build a better world through business partnerships, and our goal is to increase long-term commercial business partnerships between Finnish companies and companies from developing countries, as well as creating positive development impacts in the target country. Here you can see our main services. So we have business partnership support financing for Finnish companies for projects with a positive development impact in developing countries. This support is for planning, training, and pilot phases of projects involving developing countries. Then we have a matchmaking service, which is a free of charge service for connecting Finnish companies with partners in our target countries, for example, South Africa. And we currently have 14 South African companies registered to the service, and of course hope to see more. We also provide information and guidance on business in developing countries via our website, reports, newsletter, and application workshops. Firstly, about business partnership support, which is our financing for Finnish companies. So business partnership support projects should aim at long-term business partnerships in developing country, for example, with the aim to establish a joint venture or a subsidiary company or other long-term partnership. It can also be for importing from a developing country to Finland, or piloting technology and solutions with an international organization, for example, an UN organization. It can also be for development of professional skills in the target country as part of the company's local operations. The amount of support can be up to 200,000 euros if it's under the minimis aid, and 400,000 euros if the project is entirely outside the European Economic Area. The amount depends, however, on the size of the project and the applicant's resources. The rate is affected also by the size of the company and the target country. And the grant is paid retrospectively after the expenses have occurred. Here you can see the supportable project phases. So we can support the preparation phase and the implementation phase. And here you can see different types of phases. And in one application, you can apply support for one phase or multiple phases. And as a general rule, Finnpartnership can support the preparatory phase of the business. For example, the work to determine whether it's possible and worthwhile to establish itself in the target country. Here you can see our target countries and the amount of coverage on eligible expenses. So South Africa is here marked in light green. So the amount of coverage for SMEs and organizations of similar size is 50% and 30% for large companies and organizations. And for support projects that are linked to the commercial business partnership support project. This can be, for example, executed by an NGO or an educational institution. For those support projects, the coverage can be up to 85%. And these support projects can be linked to a business partnership support project or a developing markets platform project.
Kaisa, you have 2 minutes, please.
Okay, so who can apply for support? The support can be applied by a company, public institution, research institution, or an association registered in Finland, or a company registered abroad with at least 20% of Finnish ownership. And also consortiums of several companies or organizations can apply. The support can also be granted to, as mentioned, to NGOs, educational institutions, or foundations if they provide supporting activities to a business partnership support project or a developing markets platform project. If you are interested to hear more about our business partnership support or Business Finland financing, I warmly welcome you to our application workshops, which we organize virtually every month. They are every other month in Finnish and every other month in English. And the next workshop will be on 21st of October in English. More information can be found via this link on the presentation. Also on our website, we have these success stories on business partnership support projects that have already been completed or have so far gone very well. So please visit our website to get more ideas how the business partnership support can be utilized. Then briefly about the matchmaking service, which is the service for connecting Finnish companies with companies in our target countries. So the matchmaking service works in practice in 2 ways. So companies in our target countries, for example, South Africa, can register to our matchmaking database on our website. And then Finnish companies can go to our website and look for business partners by country or by sector. So Finnish companies can go look for South African companies, for example, from the database. And we also do these direct one-to-one introductions after seminars and workshops. So for South African companies, if you are interested in finding business partner from Finland, please register to our free of charge matchmaking service database. You will find the link for registration guidelines at the end of this slide. And it is, as mentioned, free of charge, and each company that has registered to the service will get their own public profile. And we can also organize these digital meetings for companies that are registered to the service. Here are some general requirements, but this presentation will be shared with you, so you can take a look at it after this event. And here's what we can offer to companies that register to the service. So different kinds of visibility online and here in Finland. And here
now I have to stop you, Kaisa.
Yes, sorry. Yes. So thank you very much, everyone. And as mentioned, this will be shared with you, so you can take a closer look at our services after this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kaisa. And now back to Paul. Paul, you are muted. Please have your mic on.
Yeah, talking to myself again, It's me, myself, and I for a moment or two. Thank you so much to the 3 presenters, Salman, Christopher, and Kaisa. It's always a pity that we can't give you that free rein to show your passion, but we really appreciate the way that you've approached this, and the information will be available. And I think there's valuable stuff in there. And I think this is the great part of this whole day as well, apart from the breakaways, is to now understand how these partnerships work and how we can take it forward. Thank you again to the 3 of you. Any questions for the 3 presenters, you can put in the Q&A and they will answer it there for you if there's anything else you want to know. Last part of our session, we're slightly behind time, but not too much. Will be the moderators' feedback or the summaries from the 3 breakaway sessions. So I'm not going to introduce each of them in sequence there. So we'll start with the tech disruptors, whoever's going to give that feedback. Then we go to the circular economy. And after that, we will have agriculture give their feedback. It will be literally 5 minutes summary of what we're talking about. So please, guys, do that 5 minutes, and then we should be done on the time that we wanted to do. So over to the tech disruptors. Between the two of you, please feel free.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. Yeah, I'll quickly jump in here and just give a good feedback. And I just want to thank Rui for supporting in facilitation as well. First of all, we had Leo from Tieto, which is a global services and software company that's headquartered in Espoo, sharing about insights on how the rate of digitization is affecting banking. And with the rate of digitization, what they're doing is servicing businesses across 90 countries to increase the adoption of digital services in their infrastructure. It was a fantastic presentation, and we're glad to see how they're scaling in South Africa to support the migration of digital services in the banking infrastructure. The next we had was from Arctic Security, which presented on why it is important to heed cybersecurity. With over 15 million observations made on cyber attacks, Ashley gave more details about why it's important for businesses to adopt cybersecurity practices, and gave solutions that are necessary and important to reduce and mitigate over 15 million cyber attacks. And this includes democratizing data, as to what Arctic Security has been doing in South Africa with their clients. Last but not least, we had a presentation by Dr. Marcus from Contextualize, which is equipping and empowering educators with the necessary skills to teach robotics and coding. With more and more skills being required for the fourth industrial revolution, we're seeing that the number of the quality of skills and the types of skills required for the digital economy needs a reform. But who is going to reform those skills? And Dr. Marcus shared brilliantly on how they're equipping and empowering educators across schools to be able to teach robotics and coding, and they don't need to have a technical background to teach those and to adopt those skills, but they have to be able to learn and ultimately educate their students in these skills. So with that said, that was the tech disruptors, and we're very excited to see how this can continue, this partnership with Finland can continue to scale technology on the continent, and most importantly in the Western Cape. Thank you. I'll hand over to our colleagues in agribusiness.
Thank you very much. Paul, would you like me to go? I know you mentioned that.
No problem. You've been summoned and you've been.
I have
please
indeed.
Go ahead. I'm sure Yassine won't have a problem with that. So please continue, Tawfiq. No problem.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I am quite appreciative of the breakaway session, breakaway 2 that we had, and I think for what the biggest reason being, it was an intimate gathering. We had approximately 17 to 18 people participate. And as a result of that, we took the opportunity of really engaging on a one-on-one basis, putting our mics off and asking our questions live. I know for me personally, I really did learn a lot. In actual fact, I found or met an interesting company that's currently investing in the Western Cape, sent them an email, and looking forward to future discussions. And I think that's what it's all about, that collaboration and the networking. Furthermore, understanding the support that's available in taking advantage of opportunities, both in the Western Cape and emerging economies like South Africa, as well as to Finnish businesses. And Erika started off with a brilliant presentation about the overview of the Western Cape, but more importantly, what support mechanisms are available to businesses seeking to take advantage of export opportunities. And one in particular was the technical export development training that is offered, which is completely funded by the agency. It's called the Export Advancement Program, and it's a 7-module vocational training course over a 2-week period. At the end of this 2-week period, you would then have completed almost an export strategy plan for your business. And then comes in the trade specialist, which is again funded one-on-one mentoring over a period of 3 to 6 months. And that's where the rubber hits the road, where the one-on-one engagement with the service provider allows you to get your ducks in a row to actually qualify or graduate as export ready. So it was really fantastic to hear. Salman mentioned interestingly that the deficit is to the benefit of Finland in terms of our trade. However, if you go a bit deeper into that, and if you look at things from an agribusiness perspective, it flips around to that being of benefit to the Western Cape. So I found that really, really interesting, and there's no surprise there as a result that exports from the Western Cape into Finland were up about 22% from 2019 to 2020, particularly around wine, citrus, and grapes. In fact, it was up about 86%. So the Finnish really do enjoy our wine. So as Kaisa Arkila mentioned in her presentation, there's also quite a number of support mechanisms from the Finnpartnership. For example, the 18 product-specific import reports that they provide, which really helps guide a potential exporter with import requirements, customer habits, preferences in Finland regarding these specific products, as well as the matchmaking platform which she touched on, which connects Finnish companies with companies in the Finnpartnership network targeting countries such as South Africa. So it's benefit for both sides. In addition to that, it is also the CBI, which I was quite pleased to learn about, being the Center for the Promotion of Imports in Developing Countries, and the way that they can support emerging economies, especially around strengthening their economic, social, and environmental sustainability. And CBI does this by helping the companies, for example, from the Western Cape, export products and services into the European market and regional markets as well. And lastly, we had a very interesting presentation by Neil de Beer, who's from a company called Innovate Process Solutions, which is a Cape Town-based engineering consultancy headquartered here in Cape Town in Somerset West, and via its Finnish technical partner Kometos is able to bring this world-class technology into the meat slaughtering and processing sectors in many emerging economies. So very engaging breakaway session 2. Really would like to thank those who put it together. I was quite intrigued at the concept of breakaway 1, breakaway 2, breakaway 3, but I've moved from intrigued to quite a fan. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Tawfiq. I'll jump straight into it for some feedback from the circular economy breakaway room. And it was very fruitful discussion and very broad discussion as well. We touched on all aspects, not just waste valorization, but also water resilience and the importance of collaboration of energy sector with waste sector, as well as the water sector and agricultural sector. To give you a summary of the session, we had 4 presenters, and they really complemented each other really well to show that it's not necessarily everyone fighting for the same piece of the pie, as they say, but how they can collaborate within the Western Cape and bring the experience that Finland has within its businesses to the Western Cape. Our first presenter was Marco from Valmet, and he focuses on integrated waste management solutions and waste valorization, looking at existing South African waste management infrastructure and providing a solution that is viable from both a green economy and circular economy perspective, as well as a business viable perspective. So that was quite exciting to hear from him how we would approach the current South African waste management scene and what their plans are for in the short to medium term timeline for South Africa. Then our second presentation was from Shane of Huhtamaki, South Africa. It was very interesting to see that his focus was more on the food and beverage sector and how they could extract resources for food packaging in that sector, and how they can more efficiently manage the food and beverage value chain from a circularity perspective. Very insightful and thoughts that you shared with regards to the extended producing regulations, as well as the producer responsibility organization and the roles they play in South Africa, and what sort of experience and technologies that Finland can share with South Africa as well. Our third presentation was from Hallie, who represents the HSY, the Waste Treatment Division in the city of Helsinki. And what was interesting about Hallie's presentation was the highlighting of the collaboration between the different utility sectors and departments. It's not just focused on the water sector in terms of water resilience, but also it's important to collaborate with the waste sector as well as the energy sectors. Hallie was quite keen to highlight that even though they are in a public organization in Finland, they are happy to share sort of expertise and resources to help South African businesses and South African government understand its current situation and provide some insight on what would be the best possible solutions for some of the issues facing South Africa and the Western Cape at the moment. Our last presentation was from Marcus of Block Solutions, and very interesting. Marcus' company produces building blocks from recycled materials, fibers and plastics. Interestingly enough, Marcus has highlighted that their business does integrate with existing systems and existing markets in a region. So for example, it would not disrupt the plastics recycling market. It would look for waste streams that have no end solution or that's currently going to landfill and valorize that by building blocks with that underutilized resource that's going to landfill. All in all, it's quite critical that we summarize and we say that the most important point from the session is that South Africa and Western Cape does have a lot of potential and they should be open to more ideas. However, we should shift away from the proof of concept note and take note of things that have been proven globally. Finland is a good example of where technology has been implemented successfully and within a successful business case viability models as well. So it's quite important for us to be open to these partnerships and to collaborate and take them further. I'm going to ask my colleague Maria if she has anything to add to what I've said, and I'm pretty sure that she might have a thought too as well.
Thank you.
Being conscious of time, Maria. Yeah, no problem. 1 minute, and it's okay.
I will take half a minute. Well, I mean, first of all, Yassine summarized it excellently, and our excellent speakers really had the message clear. I kind of, listening to this, I would say that, I mean, as a take-home message, we really heard there's a clear triple win situation in the commercial opportunities and business opportunities that lie in scaling circular businesses in Western Cape. Then at the same time, the social benefits of affordable solutions, job opportunities, valuing the jobs and the work put in across the value chain of, for example, waste management. And then finally, the final goal, if we want to sustain our human well-being, the current ecological crisis must be met, and circular economy is here a tool. So just the kind of, these were the main key takeaway for me from the excellent speakers and presentations. It was really a pleasure to join. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all the moderators and organizers of those breakaway sessions. It was great to hear the feedback, and I'm very glad that
Now we lost
that potential that's been shown for the last week. Who did we lose?
Yes, hello everyone, and it was great that you joined us in the last part in so many numbers. So thank you very much for all participants, all speakers, all moderators. I think that we have learned today a lot from each other, and there are a lot of chances that we could cooperate. So let's be in touch, and you will get the presentations and videos afterwards by email. And I wish you a great weekend and great businesses together with us. Thank you.
And all that remains is for you to drive home safely for those who are driving. But yeah, I think I just want to say a quick words of thanks to Anna and Rui and Salman and his team, everybody involved there. That was great organizing. Thank you very much for all the speakers and for putting everything together. Special word of thanks to Rihanna, because I think it's very critical that we understand that she does a lot of work behind the scenes that we don't realize. Rihanna, I know you're shy to show the face, but if you want to, you can do so. And then obviously all the presenters, all the speakers. I think Rihanna's almost there with the show. Go show, go show. We can see you. No, she probably can't do it behind that screen there.
Thank you, Paul.
There we go, there we go. And then obviously all the speakers, presenters, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge, sharing your inputs with us and with everybody around the world. I think it was quite nice to see some input from elsewhere as well. And then obviously you as attendees sitting through this and also participating the way you did, and we really appreciate that. And this is the start of something, Anna, we spoke about it the other day. It's not the end of something, it's the start of something. Really, you just don't know yet, but we're going to push on all buttons between yourselves.
Yes, I hope this will continue in some other form, and we will be in touch. Paul, we are missing you in phone.
Absolutely. Okay, so Anna, we over to you as the last word.
Thank you very much for everyone. Great event. Have a safe journey back home, and let's be in touch and find new businesses. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you to all involved. Goodbye.